Our first session is the industry and technical session, where the growth of the Ayurveda will be discussed, and there will be the panel discussion where Professor Ashmita Vele, Head Professor, University of Debrecen, Hungary, Mr. Devarshis Dattagupta, Chairman, Associate Health Council East and Managing Director, East India Pharmaceutical Works Limited, Mr. Manu Chaudhary, Chairman, Associate International Relations Council East, Dr. Sudipta Narayan, Member, Associate and Managing Director, Powell Group of Company, Mr. Shivashish Chakravarti, Chief Operating Officer, Indus Valley Ayurvedic Center Private Limited, Mr. Sudeep Jha, Advisor, Associate, and Mrs. Parminder Jeet Kaur, Director, Associate East and Northeast, and who is our associates also. And we'll have the Ranjan Daipan Sen also. He is the advisor in the advisor group of the SSM. And before starting the session, we'll have an exclusive session by Dr. Pratibha Shah, who is the founder president of Council for Ayurveda Research USA. Mrs. Pratibha Shah is BAMS, MD Ayurveda, MPH. Is a Boston, US based, internationally renowned Ayurvedic expert. Her pioneering initiatives in the field of Ayurveda have brought her attention at the White House, the Department of Health and Human Services, as well as the Consulate General of India, New York. For her work, she was also nominated in the top 20 women of the year for the year 2014. She is a senior faculty and Ayurveda domain expert for Kerala Ayurvedic Academy, Boston Ayurveda School, and CEO of My Ayurveda LLC. She is the founder president of two non-profits, as I told earlier, Council for Ayurveda Research and Holistic Health Alliance. She currently consults out of her office in Denver and at Well Life Medical, a state-of-the-art integrative medicine clinic near Boston, Massachusetts, USA. Before moving to the US, Mrs. Shah was a chief medical officer with the Ayush Ministry in India. So we are very much thankful and grateful to Madam that she has given her consent to join our international conference and to address the participants. We are very much thankful, ma'am. And please, after your exclusive session, ma'am, the panel discussion will be chaired by Mrs. Parminder Jeet Kaur, and the other panelists will join accordingly. Thank you, ma'am. You may start now.
Thank you. Thank you for the lovely introduction. And I want to thank ASSOCHAM and National Medicinal Plant Board for giving me this opportunity to connect with everybody in India. It is an honor and a privilege for me also to be able to participate and have this dialogue from here in America and with all of you in India. Maybe we can exchange some thoughts. Maybe there can be a refocus, re-highlighting of some of the things that are already under discussion. And maybe there might be an uncovering of some new areas of interest from what I'm going to share now in the next few minutes. As someone who is now living and practicing in the United States. So I'm going to start my presentation right away. I was having a little bit of a confusion if I should speak in Hindi or English, but I think for the sake of everybody being able to follow, do you think, Parminder, English is better?
Okay, please continue with English. That's absolutely okay.
Thank you. So I have put together a few slides, but I do want to recognize that I'm not a manufacturer. I'm not an industry expert. But I'm a practitioner. So I'm at the consumer end of things. As far as the market is concerned, if I understand correctly, this conference is primarily to discuss some of the growth factors for the market. So I'm going to just say a couple words about myself so that you have a little bit of a better background and a context before I get into my slides. I just want to say that I have a little bit of a unique perspective because I used to be in India with the Ayush Ministry for 13 years. And just to put a little timeline into context, the current advisors, Dr. Nesri and Dr. Katoch, are my UPSC batchmates. So we are all three of us are from the same UPSC batch. And we came together into Ayush. And in 2004, I moved to USA. I got my master's in public health. I have an MD in Raj Shastra from India. And after coming here in US, I got my master's in public health. And I have been practicing, teaching, basically self-designated ambassador of Ayurveda in the USA. So I have also founded two nonprofits. One is Council for Ayurveda Research, and the other is Holistic Health Alliance. Council for Ayurveda Research is now an international nonprofit. We also have an India chapter, Ayurvidya Anusandhan Abhiyan Foundation. So with that background, I would like to now share a few thoughts with all of you from the unique perspective of someone who was in India, who was in a government sector, and now who is in USA in the private sector. So a lot of contrasts. I used to be in India, now I'm outside India. So a little bit of a unique perspective there because of the unique background that I carry with myself. So it's about 1 a.m. past midnight here. So pardon me if there are any, any pauses or anything lacking in terms of transmission here. So today I'll be sharing a little bit about growth of Ayurveda in the international arena. And the first thought that I would like to share with all of you is consolidated in this shloka, beautiful shloka. Ayam nijaha paroveti ganana laghu chetasa udara charita nam tu vasudhaiva kutumbakam. So I think Vasudhaiva Kutumbakam is a very oft repeated part of this shloka. Basically, the entire shloka is saying that it is small thinking when we think of what is mine and what is yours, but the people with larger character consider the whole world as their own family, as a complete united family. So I think that is the premise on which I'm going to share my next few slides, because I think that is the goal, that through Ayurveda, we can connect the entire world into one single family. So today I have just 10-12 slides, so I will run through them quickly. Defining parameters of growth of Ayurveda globally. Again, this is going to be coming from my individual perspective. Challenges thereof and some suggested next steps. So here is the list of some of the parameters of growth of Ayurveda globally. One is awareness building, because if you don't, if the consumer does not know what they need to be utilizing, they will not be able to utilize it. So building of awareness is, I think, one of the first primary steps. Second is legal status. So legal status basically defines to what extent Ayurveda can be practiced in that particular region, country, city, etc. Education. So one of the routes of the spread of Ayurveda is happening and can happen through the route of education. Educating the masses about the tools and resources in Ayurveda for prevention, for self-care, for wellness, etc. So education is a very, very important tool, especially in the countries where the legal status is not yet there, which is actually the case in most of the countries in the world, that Ayurveda is still not licensed, except barring a few, very few countries like Malaysia, Mauritius, etc. The practice is the key component of Ayurveda, but again, the legal status often becomes a barrier. Herbs are the tools and the resources through which one can practice effectively. So I'll talk a little bit about that. Skilled Ayurvedic paramedical staff. This is another area where I would like to highlight, which is an avenue which is probably not very well explored. Equipments and research. So let's dive into this. So awareness building, as I was saying, that consumer demand is increasing slowly but surely. However, a lot more needs to be done. People do not know what is Ayurveda. I would say even in India, it's very common for the consumer to be very confused between Ayurveda, homeopathy, naturopathy. These terminologies are often used interchangeably and, of course, wrongly, because they are completely different. And much more ignorance is there outside of India. And that is one area where I think a lot of work can be done in terms of awareness building, which will lead to increased consumer demand, which is what the market needs. Because if you don't have the consumer, there is no possibility of growth. So the awareness building, I feel, is a very key part of growing the market outside of India. Every which way, not just the herbal industry, but also the education industry. Ayurveda as a complete sector. If you're looking at the growth of Ayurveda as a complete sector outside of India, I think all the aspects of Ayurveda need to be considered. So there are some national organizations, National Ayurvedic Medical Association, Council for Ayurveda Research, which is my own non-profit, APNA, which is another national organization. And these are primarily membership, NAMA and APNA are primarily membership organizations. Council for Ayurveda Research is specifically focused on research in Ayurveda. And I'll try to talk a little bit about it, time permitting. Now, yoga industry is another avenue through which awareness building can be done on a really large scale and in an effective manner. Yoga is something that has become popular, not just as pure yoga, but as a fitness tool, as a fitness science, as something fashionable. So this penetration of yoga as a health tool, as a fitness tool, can be utilized to piggyback on top of this penetration, other things that we would like to deliver to the masses, including Ayurveda. On the federal level, there is some recognition of Ayurveda. In the National Institute of Health, you can find Ayurveda under the integrative medicine section. But it's not a very rosy picture how Ayurveda has been described in the NIH website. So definitely a lot is lacking there as far as how the US government is presenting Ayurveda on an official platform. Then through the embassies and the consulates, a lot can be done. I have myself been a part of some of the programs, but those are far and few. So I do feel a lot can be done. And there are so many other avenues of other NGOs, universities, etc. So awareness building is, I feel, one of the topmost thing that we have not yet taken cognition of, and we have not really worked on building awareness. Legal status also is lacking. I am going to talk specifically in the context of United States. Ayurveda is not licensed in this country. There is a Health Freedom Act in 12 states, which allows, and you can see some of the language that I have written from the National Health Freedom Coalition.org. You can go on this website and you can see that there are 11 states where we have the Health Freedom Act, which allows the consumer to choose what type of treatment or wellness measures they want to access. And that gives some basic protection to the practitioner. But otherwise, it's very difficult to operate as an Ayurvedic practitioner in a country like United States. I have found my own ways, and many other like me have found their own ways. And that's a topic for another day. But Health Freedom Act in 12 states only, 11 or 12 states. I think recently another state was added. So 12 is the updated number. And my state is not one of them. So I have to be very, very careful. I do not use words like treatment. I do not use words like patient, disease, diagnosis, etc. So I had to unlearn a lot of things. As of today, I am practicing pure Ayurveda, but I will be able to share maybe in another forum how I have circumvented and how many other people have circumvented how to practice Ayurveda. But we do feel restricted. We do feel limited. That is a fact. Ayurveda continues to operate and grow in the gray area of wellness. So wellness industry is the industry that is gray, and that is where most of the play is available right now for herbs, for supplements, for body work, for therapeutics, etc. So now we come to education and research. Now, education is one of the safest way to promote Ayurveda, to promote awareness about Ayurveda. And indeed, there are a growing number of Ayurveda schools in United States. We have about, I believe, 30 plus Ayurveda schools, 2,000 plus Ayurveda trained professionals in some degree, like they could be health counselors. So there are some new levels of Ayurveda training, as you can see from the slides, which are not BA, MS, MD, but there are like 600 hours trained health counselors, and then 1,200, 1,400 hours trained practitioner level. And recently some doctor levels have started, which are still not the number of hours that BAMS have to go through in the typical university setting. But in some degree, based on the WHO benchmark document, some doctoral programs have started. And I'm myself a senior faculty for Kerala Ayurveda Academy and another large school, Boston Ayurveda School. So I know that there are many schools coming up every year, every 2 years, there are 1 or 2 new schools coming up. So education is definitely a route through which Ayurveda can be brought into the West and other countries, including USA. More integration of Ayurveda as an elective subject in mainstream universities is also happening, medical universities, where Ayurveda is offered as an elective subject. Ayurveda is increasingly being integrated into yoga, holistic nutrition, and other such teaching programs and institutes. Again, as a component which is required for getting that particular certification or diploma, Ayurveda is now becoming a component of that curriculum. So that is encouraging. That's really encouraging. As far as research is concerned, we really have a very small body of research so far comparatively. And whatever research is coming out of India, unfortunately, gets rejected on the global platform because of lack of stringent standards, whether it is to do with sample size or study design or investigator bias or something else. And whatever studies are there, they are primarily based on the RCT model, randomized controlled trial model, whereas RCT model is not always the most appropriate model for doing research in Ayurveda. And also the RCT model restricts the studies to being mostly on single herbs, which is really not how Ayurveda is actually practiced. We usually use polyherbal formulations. The use of single herbs is very limited in Ayurveda. So these are some of the restrictions that are there in the field of research. And we, through the Council for Ayurveda Research, we are trying to promote more basic documentation and case studies and case reports and case series, etc. Because there you can document as is. So multiple interventions, polyherbal formulations, all of those restrictions that the RCTs bring are not there in the case studies. So we are trying to promote that. And we also have BAMS, MD, PhD, who are, sometimes they come here and they change their profession. But this is an underutilized community of BAMS, classically Ayurveda trained professionals from India who can be utilized, which I'll be talking a little bit in my last 2 slides. So the herbs, the primary use of herbs here in the US is in the form of single herbs, spices, where turmeric and there are teas, coriander, cumin, fennel. It's called CCF. It's a very popular tea here, what we would call Fanta in Ayurveda. So spices, these in the wellness industry, as I said, the supplement industry, that's where most of the play is. But it's very interesting that over the past 4 or 5 years, I have seen, so currently we have about 15 plus companies operating in the USA. Quite a few of them are local, like Banyan Botanicals, and some of them are your, our classical manufacturers from India. For example, past 5 years or so, Pottical has made a great foray into USA, and we are beginning to get all kinds of classical preparations like Asab, Arishta, Tailams and Churnams and Gutikas and all of Layams and everything, which is amazing because this was something which could not happen in the like five years back. And interestingly, they're using their original label, which is also very, very surprising because Himalaya Healthcare had to change their labels from Live 52 to Liver Care, etc., Mentat to Mind Care, etc. But Cortical is coming with their original label, with their original indications and everything, which I personally have no idea how they have managed it, but they have been doing it for past 5 years, and they have all kinds of classical formulations. So it is happening, and this needs to be studied, and maybe more people from the industry can come in, and we would welcome that. Practitioners like me would really, really welcome that. Now, online portals is another new and upcoming resource for practitioners and consumers like Distacart, Madanapalas, which is like a UK-based portal primarily. And they're very efficient. Madanapalas usually can take time, like can take about 3 weeks, but Distacart, which I have been using really now frequently, especially in the COVID times, because I am not able to go to India also, which sometimes I used to bring some herbs, which I would never find here. But now Distacart is really changing the game. Within a week, I get Kamdudavati and Godanti Mishran, anything that I want, I get it. And surprisingly, even Amazon and eBay, they have products from Vaidyaratnam and AVP. So it's very, very interesting how online shopping is really changing the game. And this is where I really feel that anybody who's listening from the industry, there is a lot of opportunity and there is a lot of need, there is a lot of demand. Please explore this. Me as a practitioner would really, really appreciate that. We also are lacking in skilled Ayurvedic paramedical staff because there's a lot of Ayurveda bodywork that is very, very popular in US. Simple Abhyanga, a lot of Panchakarma treatments, localized treatments. Like I have one lady that I work with, and she's very good, but it's sometimes tough to send her everywhere. But she does all kinds of Netra Basti and all the localized Janu Basti and everything. But paramedical staff is another, which, for the industry, I would like to say that if there can be like a structured way to get some paramedical staff, there is need. Equipments. So some of the body works that we are able to do here are like nasyas and some steaming equipment, steaming tents or beds, etc. Localized basti contraptions like the well for the kati basti, etc. Internal basti equipment. Now you have to realize that we cannot touch the patient or client here. I don't even use the word patient. So sometimes, often, I mean, we have to always ask them to self-administer the basti. And we cannot find those equipments here. The enema bag and the catheter that can, so we have to kind of be very innovative here, and it's very challenging. So this is another sector where the market equipments can be made available to other countries. More needs to be done here. Definitely, I would like to highlight that. So here are some of the challenges. The legal status I have already talked about. So this really needs to be, this is a long-term thing, or maybe not. Chinese people have managed to get Chinese medicine licensed here in the US. TCM, acupuncture, everything is licensed. So I think we have to take some inspiration there. Availability of herbs is still very limited. We are operating with 5 to 10% of what is there in the market. Trained staff, as I said, the equipment, and support from representative agencies of our government. So the consulate, the embassy, we need more. We need more support. And Ayush, I know I have also been in touch with Ayush, and we have had support, but a lot more needs to be done. So Dr. Kotecha ji has been very, very dynamic in interacting and supporting, but clearly a lot more needs to be done. Research activities are minimal to none. And again, through Council for Ayurveda Research and Ayurveda Anusandhan Abhiyan Foundation, please do go on our website and check us out, ayurvedaresearchusa.org. We are running journal clubs, and we have just recently started global research webinar series. All of them are available on our YouTube channel for the public to see. So these are the next two and last two slides. We need more support from the government. Here are some of the suggested next steps to push licensure as well as direct support to the practitioner community. Government involvement in establishing benchmarks and frameworks for setting standards in Ayurveda education. As a faculty, I would like to say that I would like to see better standards for education. There's plenty of dilution of Ayurveda happening in the West, and sometimes we as faculty are not able to control it. Herbs, we would like to see the increase in the availability across a wider spectrum of herbs and formulations, keeping in mind the limitations and specific needs outside of India. So we, for example, we cannot do therapeutic emesis here, what we call Vamana. So certain things we just cannot do here. Even if it's licensed, it may take a long time to get Vamana to this country. But so keeping very specific needs of the market outside of India, that's an important parameter. Indo-US collaboration is needed to initiate and encourage basic documentation and research. Again, we are working through our nonprofit on that. I just actually had a conversation with the embassy just today, and we could be doing an Indo-US research-focused event in May. So stay tuned for that. Currently, there are about 15 plus Ayurveda companies, local as well as Indian, in the herb market. There is great scope for more to come in. So that's another area I would say, Vaidyanath, Dabur, whoever is in the market right now should be coming. And we are talking about Kashta Aushadhis only, not Ras Aushadhis. Because Ras Aushadhis, I don't know how many of you know, but I'm sure you know that Ras Aushadhis are banned here. So there's a lot of history, a lot of defaming of Ayurveda that was done starting 2004 and which continues. So at least the Kashta Aushadhis, I think we should be able to supply better. So there is a lot of market is what I want to say. The industry really needs to come forward and explore all the avenues. We are at $500 million US export right now, roughly, per year. But more it needs to be done, more can be done. So lastly, and this is my pet peeve, that sustainability of the herbs. most important. I think a lot of herbs are already going extinct and they are getting difficult to find, like Jatamansi, Gugulu. Gugulu is over harvested. So I feel if there is a mandatory investment from the industry, if that is mandated by the government, like 1% has to go back into sustainability practices, I think there might be some really good solutions to making sure we have sustainability of the herbs. So with that, I would like to thank. This is pretty much some of the things that I wanted to talk about. I don't know if there's any time for Q&A, but I would let the organizers let me know.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much, ma'am. That was quite a detailed presentation. Soumya ji, is there any comment from your side or from Ashish ji's side, or are you suggesting we move on to the panel? Over, Mr. Soumya ji.
Yes, yes. Thank you very much, madam, for your wonderful session. Thank you very much, and we are very much grateful that you have given your valuable time to our international conference. For that, it has get a new dimension. Thank you, ma'am. Thank you once again. Thank you.
Thank you so much. If it is okay, then I'll sign off.
Yes, ma'am. I think, is there any question, ma'am? I think for the participants, they will not ask you directly. They can rather send you in the chatting option, which will be sent you later on if there will be any question. Okay,
okay. Abhi there is no question, so I hope Parminder has my email, so you can always send me the questions. I'm happy to answer.
Yes, ma'am.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much for the opportunity and best wishes for the panel. It's 1:30 a.m. here, so I will sign off. Unfortunately, I can't stay.
Okay, thank you, ma'am, for a fantastic presentation, and have a good night.
Presentation.
Wonderful
Presentation as usual. I enjoyed your talk. Yeah.
Thank you, Asmita. All right.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
So now I would like to request Mrs. Parminder Jikar, who is our associate of this conference also. I would like to take her. I would like to request her to chair the session for this panel discussion and according to proceeded with things. Ma'am, please.
Thank you so much, Mr. Bishwas. It is really indeed a privilege and honor for ASSOCHAM to be part of this 3 days international conference come Biocellular Meet, and thanks to National Medicine Plant Board Regional Center for having accommodated our request for our industry members to be able to showcase and participate in the Biocellular Meet. So I would request all participants to explore and visit the booths and the virtual exhibition which is going on. We had a wonderful address and the perspective and the potential opportunities in US. We heard Dr. Pratibha Shah, as of course it's late midnight and she couldn't be requested to stay any further. We have this session today where we are going to take input from our key industry members who are there with us. We are going to talk about the growth of the Ayurveda. Some base has been set already, and then we will talk more about ease of doing business, the challenges which the industry faces, which are of course to an extent similar to the US challenges, where there is a shortage of manpower and the raw materials. So those challenges do exist in India as well. So let's begin with first having a little understanding on the sector. What is the sector for India? What are the future opportunities for the sector domestically and internationally? Because we have with us Professor Asmita Wale. Dr. Asmita Wale is head of the Department of Rashtra and Parampara Vigyan at College of Ayurveda, Bharati Vidyapeeth Deemed University in Pune. She is also honorary professor, University of Debrecen, Hungary. So she has been very instrumental in taking Ayush and Ayurveda and Indian forms of treatments to European audiences. So her expertise lies in designing and execution of end-to-end research projects of Ayurvedic formulations. Apart from standard formulations of ashwagandha, tailas, and herbal minerals, she has experience of making parapati, sindura, potali, and abrakaswatka as well. She has she has been the principal investigator of DST projects, Ayush projects, and member of Ayush International Cooperation Committee, Scientific Advisory Committee of Gujarat Ayurveda University, Jamnagar, and of BOS and Academic Council of BHU Varanasi. She was the Ayurvedic expert and co-rapporteur for the historic working group meeting for the development of WHO benchmark documenting on Panchakarma, Ayurveda, and training. So she is a treasure trove of many various things which are needed for taking the sector forward. She has been instrumental in taking a lot of initiatives along with the government to ensure that Ayurveda reaches beyond the boundaries of India to the global audiences. So let's first have her thoughts on what is there in the future for us, for the sector, within the country and internationally, and then we will invite our other eminent panelists to share their thoughts. Dr. Wale, over to you, please.
Thank you, Parminderji. At the outset, I would like to thank ASSOCHAM as well as NMPB for giving me this opportunity to share my thoughts. First of all, you all are aware that I come from, or I represent the academics of Ayurveda. So I do not represent industry, but academics without application, without industry has no meaning. So every day, if I'm teaching on Ayurveda formulations and how they act and how they work and how they are beneficial for the patients, then definitely I need to look into its industrial perspective, its commercial perspective, its imports of the raw materials, exports of raw as well as finished goods. So in that sense, my understanding of presentation today is, I'm really thankful to you, Parminderji, for giving me a chance to revisit this little bit offbeat topic for me. I have put, I have put my thoughts in a presentation, and I would be sharing my slides now. So this is today's topic is regarding Ayurveda in India and future opportunities for domestic and international markets. I have been in Hungary, in Europe for 3 years, and I was in Hungary, I could travel in and around, and there are lot many organizations, specifically European doctors, European therapists who want to practice Ayurveda, and by this way or that, they practice some part of Ayurveda, not the whole essence as we know we practice in India, but a small little part of they practice. And here, therefore, we have to convert these traditional churnas and pastes and decoctions into a different dosage form, maybe like capsules or tablets. So today's presentation, I'll be talking about context, strengths of Ayurveda, the export scenario a little bit, strategy, what I feel could work better for our country, and then domestic and common issues and some of the policy issues. We all are aware, and it was made very clear by Dr. Pratibha Shaha's presentation, that in India, Ayurveda is a part of our daily lifestyle routine. In most parts, in rural part, it comes as a natural, use of a herb comes as a daily routine or natural thing. And in urban India, now it was not there in all the households, but it has started gaining entry through the herbal teas. So Haldi Doodh was there always, but which was, losing its connect a little bit over past 2 decades, but now that has regained. Post-COVID, that has been one of the after COVID-19 pandemic, the highlight or the focus on Ayurveda has definitely increased. We also see that Ayush Ministry has been established in 2014, and that has given a boost under the able leadership of Vaidya Rajesh Kotecha ji and all his team from the ministry. We are also witnessing that the turnover of Ayurvedic companies is growing, and companies like Patanjali or Imami, they have come up with, though controversial, but they have come up with some products like Coronil, and they have, they have stood in the market firmly that okay, we also have these things, and we can definitely support Indian population, not only through the traditional wisdom but also through the application of products. Then there are, and because of this, the international brands like Colgate has to name their paste Veda Shakti. So unless they have realized, the MNCs have realized that unless there is something Veda, Ayurveda, and it's not only for India, this Veda Shakti is available in Europe. The Himalaya toothpaste and Himalaya beauty care products, the hair care products, they are all available across Europe in the supermarket chains. So especially I feel that the exports are growing in nutraceutical and herbal supplement sector more outside India, like herbal hematinics, curcuma powder, curcuma tablets, curcuma capsules, ashwagandha is available. Single herb products are available across shelf or as a OTC product. And that's another important outcome, which makes us think about how and which are the opportunities for Ayurveda internationally. See, the strengths of Ayurveda, we all are aware that it is a natural system. It has all the three approaches: preventive approach, promotive approach, and curative approach. It's also the most important, and I would use the term little bit neglected area of rasayanas in India for non-recurrence of disease. So we do not want the diseases to recur, and because it is preventive, promotive, and curative, and there is a little less importance put on these specific rasayana groups for non-recurrence of diseases in India. But all the multinationals are working on this concept of productive longevity and anti-aging. There are people who are working on Brahmi and Manduka Parni, that is Centella asiatica, and Bacopa for these two aspects. And they are working using variety of modern techniques like improvement in the telomerase, that is the ends of chromosome, the ends of chromosome which are responsible for our health as well as our longevity. So they are using these herbs, the group of scientists coming together, collaborating and coming out with some products which are there. And already in Ayurveda we have not only Chavanprash but Brahmya Rasayan, we have Pranakamya Rasayan, we have Pippali Rasayan. So many products are there, but they have not yet reached even Indian market the way they should reach. Another very important and strong point of Ayurveda is blending of food and medicine. Now, we all are familiar with the words nutraceutical, functional food, supplements. It's a different way of using this theme of food can work as medicine. And if your food works as medicine, then you don't really need to go ahead with medicine. That's the saying. Pathe sati gadartasya kim aushadhani shevanam, pathe asati gadartasya kim aushadhani shevanam. It means if you are consuming a balanced, good food, then there is no use, then you will not suffer from any disease. And if you suffer from disease, there is no use of your food also. So this is what is the strength of Ayurveda, and this is an area, this particular concept was is being explored quite a lot post-COVID across world. There are some good publications and books which talk about how to convert and how to use your food as medicine following various Ayurvedic principles. But unfortunately, we are not getting the sufficient credit which we should. Here is while searching for this talk today, I came across some export trends. You can see here very clearly that from 2005 till 15, the spice trade was on high, Ayush product trade was on high, even horticulture trade was on high, on the growing side. But after 2015, you can see there is a downfall or a plateau there. Why I'm comparing these two is in last 2-3 years, when I was in Hungary, I could sense that in EU also, the demand for organic production and phytosanitary clearances increased. And that's where many of Ayurvedic products which were being available in the markets, their availability reduced. So it's the safety regulations and non-organic product was controlled, and that's why there is a little downward growth here. You can see here in the red that organic product growth has increased. After 2015, there is a lot of increase in organic product growth. So while manufacturing or while cultivating herbs for Ayurvedic manufacture or for the herbal sales, we need to take care of this organic manufacturing. Again, it was my personal experience while I was teaching in Hungary, Debrecen University, that mainly spices, they were the mainstay, may it be in tablet form or capsule form. Even the powders, the teas was like Dr. Pratibha also said, that teas is the most easiest and having appeal to consumers product. Apart from that, people are very much interested in cosmetics or personal care products, hair care, skin care, face care, body care products, and wellness products. And you can see here that exports of Ayush products is at the level of even not up to $2 billion US dollars per year, but the beauty products are to the tune of $10 billion US dollars per year. And that's where I feel Ayush has in the industry can use the anecdotes and the essence of Ayurvedic cosmetology, where those herbs can be incorporated and we can develop some wonderful products to go to the beauty industry. If we see category wise, if we come to apart from these OTC and the beauty and cosmetic products, if we come to the bulk products, bulk drugs and only herbs. So there is no value addition in Indian sense, but there are herbs and bulk drugs, and there is a sharp rise in the share is quite, Ayurveda bulk share is quite high. Again, here the point is about organic production, and we need to take care of that. So industry has to think about buyback arrangements with farmers, and they have to support the organic product development. We in Bharati Vidyapeeth, we worked on this omega-3 fatty acids through flax seeds, as well as we worked on Withania somnifera, and that time we provided growers the saplings of the species which we needed, and we also provided them the technology to grow this product in field organically. I'm aware that many big pharmaceutical companies like Himalaya and Dabur, they have farms and they are using these technologies and they are supporting farmers also. But that needs to be looked with a fresh eye again. Yeah, I could not refrain myself from comparing Ayush products and traditional Chinese medicine. one opportunity I see here is, see the per year sale of herbs is $278 million per year of Ayush products. It's not too less than the sale of traditional Chinese herbs, but these herbs from India, they are collected from wild. So 80% of our produce is collected from wild. Thereby, we are many of our species, we are exploiting our species. Many of the species are on the verge of extinction, and that's where NMPB has come in picture, and NMPB is trying their level best over past 2 years. As I know, as I can see the difference that they are trying to cultivate. See, 70% of the Chinese products, which are 70% of the Chinese products, they are coming from the cultivated resources. So definitely, here is another opportunity to go into medical agriculture or growing of medicinal plants instead of collecting them from wild. In India, we always often look towards the developed countries like Australia and US and European continent for exports, and then of course we should. But in India and in the Southeast Asian countries also, there is a lot of opportunity for Ayurvedic products, and for all of us, that depending on the disease patterns, which diseases are more in India and around India, they are shown here in blue. Heart diseases are a little bit more in India, but perinatal problems, medicines for children, nutritional products for children is one of the forte of Ayurveda. So variety of formulations which are again like nutritional bars. Initially, we used to call them Paushtik Laddu. Even today, in all across India, we find that during the winter season, we all have these nutritious laddus and things like that in our homes. But in urban India, that practice is going down, which should be replaced by these nutritional products for children using puffed wheat, puffed rice, puffed jowar, bajra, instead of corn. It has been proven that corn gives rise to obesity. Corn is not very good for, and eating corn and popcorns does not serve the purpose. And whereas Ayurveda says that all these puffs coming from our brown rice, coming from our wheat, coming from the jowar, they are nutritious, they are rich in selenium, they are rich in iron, and according to Ayurveda, they supply, they build in the best tissues for growth. So here is another opportunity to develop products for children. All my colleagues working with pediatrics, they request to us all the time that why don't you develop children-friendly products for us, ma'am? All the products are very kaduve hai, kuch tikhe hai. Why? How we have to give it to children? Of course, we add honey to that, but still there is a lot of scope for development of pediatric products, nutritional as well as pharmaceutical. Ayush herbs permitted globally. This is a list. You will find Adhatoda vasica, you will find licorice, you will find ashwagandha, amla, Imblica officinalis. I must mention here Dr. Pulok Mukherjee and his group, they have worked really hard. And today you can find amla in the herbal monograph of USA. And then, of course, it is also in Australian pharma index. So these are the drugs which are permitted globally. So we can use all of these in different combinations. They can, like aloe is used for in beauty and cosmetic products. Ashwagandha, amalaki, ginger, they can be used for musculoskeletal disorders. Licorice, it has been praised like anything during the pandemic for its immunomodulatory effect, and also antiviral efficacy. Garlic guggulu for painkillers. So there are a variety of efficacies of these products, and you can go ahead with the polyherbal formulations with this. Of course, while saying this, I am aware that this is not Ayurveda. This is some offshoot, or this is low-hanging fruit for Ayurveda. But at times, we need to have the low-hanging fruits first, and then to go on a bigger platform. Why I'm saying this is, there are Western herbs which are used across the counter. So barring India, in India, we are doctors, we are supported by our government, we are supported by ministry, population respects us, and therefore we can write all the medicines right and left. But when you go outside India, where Ayurveda is not recognized, then there are issues. And then you cannot use the terms like treatment, or you cannot even use the word like patient. And there, when people go to therapists, when people go to wellness consultants, they use these herbs. So for example, instead of elderberry, if we can use the simple shingada, trappa bispinosa, for the ailments like pain, swelling, and whenever diuretic is needed. Here I mean that the food and medicine combination or concept coming from Ayurveda will be best used. Then Ichina Chia is used for cold, cough, and respiratory diseases, where our Vasaka, Adatoda Vasika is the best example. So we have to compete with these herbs, and for that our manufacturing, our claims for standard and our claims for efficacy should be supported by sufficient trustworthy research. And trustworthy research is what? The rigor, the methodology of research should be foolproof. If it is foolproof, if it is published in reputed index journals, then definitely this has a big market. After the pandemic, Giloy has come out like one of the good drugs. Similarly, the EU list, common uses of herbs and spices approved in EU. In European Union, there are different laws. If each of the countries, now we take EU as one continent. There are 39 countries there, and each country, for traditional medicine, they have their separate regulation or rule. 5 of European countries, they have acknowledged natural medicine, and there the penetration is easier. Again, from the nutraceutical and food supplement angle, not from the medicine angle. Because if you want to claim some drug as a medicine, then you have to go ahead with the new chemical entity route, which talks about that phytochemical, its molecular structure, and then the safety studies, and then efficacy studies, and a lot of things where a lot of money or investment is required, and that may not be our goal at the moment. And therefore, let me come to the wellness sector, because theme-wise here I have tried to put this wellness sector globally theme-wise. So if you look at personal care products from the wellness sector, if you look at fitness products, if you look at nutritional products, personal care products show the highest volume, followed by the nutrition, and then the preventive. Preventive has increased very recently. So at all these sectors, if we want to take the Ayurvedic herbs, the products, we need to change a lot of things. I'm going to skip this slide, but coming to one small point Dr. Pratibhaji mentioned, we are very good friends, and we keep discussing all these things. So metals used in Ayurvedic medicines are due to their nano nature, they are not poisonous, or they are not toxins. Due to their nano nature, at very small dose, they give you the results. All across the globe nowadays, iron and zinc, we all know that iron coming with zinc, it replenishes the hemoglobin. The zinc is very essential for hemoglobin uptake and all the functions of blood and oxygenation and everything. In Ayurveda, when we say that it is zinc, it is iron bhasma. We use the term bhasma. So when we say iron bhasma, we have combined this iron with zinc, and added with Triphala herbs, Embellia ribes. So this particular nanomolecule gives iron supplementation along with antihelmintic effect, and there is no side effect on your gastrointestinal tract like diarrhea, nausea, vomiting, which is generally associated with the standard iron supplements like Fifol or anything which is available in the market, Fifol, Firsoft, like whatever it is. So these effects, gastric irritation is never there, diarrhea is never there. So this herb metal combination, which are already in our use, which are prescribed by doctors, but the form is little different and we call it bhasma, that can be promoted. You can see that ghee or coconut oil, they are not unhealthy, and many papers are there which have shown that they promote the good cholesterol and they do not promote the bad cholesterol, that is LDL. So many such studies are there, and we need to have our advocates, our ambassadors who will write in scientific language to show that these are the myths and these are not the truths. Another important area which I feel, this is for the Ayurvedic sector, when it comes to using the terms, when it comes to use the phytochemicals or identify or associate a drug which might go as a nutraceutical in outside India market, we hesitate a little bit. So we hesitate a little bit to say withanoloid from ashwagandha. We want to use the whole drug. We want to, represent it as ashwagandha, which is perfectly fine. But for a better understanding, if on labels we use these phytochemicals names and show the proposed claim, then it is going to bring us acceptability. Licensing will be easier, even for food and beverages. Licensing will be very much easier. That's what is my learning during my tenure in Europe. Necessary, we should never forget that these should be natural products, organic products. There needs to be phytosanitary clearance. They should be free from antibiotic, gluten, sugar, and fertilizer residues. So unless we comply with all of this, taking our products outside India, especially to the Western and developed country markets, is difficult. In India, without doing this also, I mean, why we should not do this for Indian population as well? That's always a dilemma for me personally. So if something is good for a population, then that is the same thing is good for the other population. So for us also, it's time now that we should also think of better yields through organic farming. There are issues in organic farming. We cannot do only organic farming because of the pests and other things. But then we need to find out an amicable combination for our population. And we should also follow these antibiotic, gluten and sugar and fertilizer residue free plant medicines for us. I could see from whatever I studied and I read that high standard countries are USA and UK and Malaysia, Russia, but less phytosanitary or trade barriers we can find in Saudi, Gulf, Sri Lanka, South Africa, where the exports can take for Ayurveda and introduction, not only of products, but also education. Africa is untapped continent for Ayurveda. I had been to Africa as well on my personal trips, but I could figure out that they also they have a strong strong lineage of herbal medicine from their own countries, but that is not codified, that is not streamlined like we have it in India. So that is an opportunity in African countries, eastern coast as well as west coast, to introduce Ayurveda in its entirety, that is the education part, then the products, and even for Africa, growing of Ayurvedic herbs in a better environment, in organic way. That's another big opportunity. That's what I felt. So for all of this, I feel that there are many schemes which are existing in government, and with ASSOCHAM's initiative, and its skill to bring industry, government, and academia together, we can develop some good schemes, good projects, and we can, I think, we can go further very substantially. And with this, I think I would like to end here. Thank you again for the audience who are patiently hearing. And if there is scope, then I would like to take some questions and answers.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you. Thank you so much. There's a slight lag in the in the communication, so that's what happens with us. So thank you so much. It was really a detailed presentation, and giving out a lot of opportunities for the international market, and the play and where exactly the industry can go, what new opportunities are there. So I'm sure collectively, when a report is being prepared, these suggestions by you will really come handy to give a suggestion to the industry that these are the areas you can explore. I would now move the conversation slightly towards a different angle, which is going towards the manufacturers. It is really an honor and privilege for me that I have my chairman of Eastern Region Healthcare Council, Mr. Debashri Datta Gupta. He's managing director of East India Pharmaceuticals, and he's the third generation entrepreneur of his organization, which is strongly believes in quality. And he's comparatively young as compared to other experienced professional, but he's very keen to carry on the business on the guidelines which he has taken from his elders and his previous generations. And he's trying to balance both the profitability and the technology improvement. And he is very keen to take forward the agenda of the sectoral growth. And he's also the chairman of Indian Institute of Packaging, and he's the immediate past regional chairman of Indian Chemical Council. And he has been the recipient of Indian Achievers Award as for the young entrepreneur for healthcare excellence in 2010 in New Delhi, and much more beyond just that. Joining him, I also have Dr. Sudipto Narayan Roy. He is Managing Director of Powell Group of Companies. Dr. Roy is the Chairman of Ayush Committee, Economic Development Forum, New Delhi, and the Chairman, Ayush Committee, Global Trade Drivers, a Niti Aayog member. He is academically associated with Germany, UK, and other country-based organizations. He is guest speaker to many academic institutions. He presented an article on integrated medicine named Wellness Engineering at Second World Science Congress at Bangkok last year, a year before, 2019, and he has won several awards. I would move this conversation to both of them because both of them are manufacturers, both of them are aware of the pain areas of the industry, both of them are aware of the fact that there are challenges when you go into production, product development, product launches, and then ensuring there is a market and all the hassles which a manufacturer has to go. They both have experience of that. So I would start with Mr. Debashri Datta Gupta. Sir, let's have your key inputs. What are the challenges which the industries are facing? We talk so much about ease of doing business. Government is keen to reduce the compliance burden. How do you feel? What more needs to be done? What are the challenges? How we take it forward, sir? Over to you, sir.
Okay. First of all, I'm sorry for having the mask and the cap because we have been, our medical services department have told us that we have to wear masks and caps for another few months in office. So I'm sorry for dressing up like this, but this is a compliance we have to do in our office. Again, Madam Kaur, Dr. Vele, Sudipto, and everybody from Jadavpur University and those listening, thank you for the wonderful program. I have been listening very carefully. And yes, as I always say, the challenges are of course there. Challenges will be there. But when I was listening to everybody, Dr. Vele and Dr. Shah's presentation. I think they have covered a lot of points which I wanted to mention. So I think, the ease of doing business, of course, Department of Ayush is doing their level best to make sure that processes are simplified and easier to follow and to comply. But I think there are two other issues which I would like to tell, and which is very relevant because people from Jadavpur University, they are there here, and it has already been discussed. That is, one is the quality of natural products. I mean, I know we as a company, we do not have our own plantations. The bigger Ayurvedic companies, they do have. I perhaps I think represent a corporate organization where I have both the Ayurvedic line of products as well as modern synthetic drugs. So I have my feet planted on both the boats, but whether firmly or not, I don't know. But time will tell. But and the quality of the plant-based products, I think it's a huge issue still. And I know everybody knows that what has happened to Uttarakhand a few days back. Climate change is real, and it will affect everything, including plantations. So I think that is a huge area which has to be taken care of. We, as Madam Kaur was telling, that we are very quality conscious, like all other companies, and maintaining a quality standard is becoming difficult. It's becoming expensive also. We are commercial organizations. Price is an important factor for all of us. We would like to give back to the community and the society good products at affordable prices, which works and helps the end users getting relief. But I think which is very important is that there has to be a balance. The prices has to be something which is affordable. You can't have extremely expensive products and get acceptance. It happens with both the modern drugs as well, where we have price control in Ayurvedics. I know that there is not a concept of price control yet, but maybe it will come in the future, because if you see the acceptance of Ayurveda and their healthcare products in India, it is massive. But what Dr. Shah has been telling, that there's a huge market outside India too, and I think the countries outside India, they need to be more aware of what Ayurveda is all about. I can bring an example. When we were working with a company in US to develop Ayurvedic products for the US market, see, our products they have multiple ingredients, and this is a concept they don't understand. For them, they said your cough tonic has 21 ingredients. How in the world are we going to check 21 ingredients? I told them that this is in our books. This is how we do it. So I think there is something. I know that there are single ingredient products as well right now, but if something which has efficacious 21 herbs and you're going to bring it down to 4, I do not believe that is going to work. So this is something I think the world needs to understand. There must be processes. We need to bring out processes, and I know Department of Ayush is working very hard for this. Apart from compliances are concerned, it is getting easier. But another thing which is happening is that as we take the Indian system of medicines very seriously, the manufacturing process becomes very modern and updated, and again adds to the cost. And it should. The manufacturing has to be absolutely updated. You know that we have Schedule M in Drugs and Cosmetics Act, which takes care of modern medicine. I think synthetic drug manufacturing, very strict process. Schedule P is becoming stricter day by day, so that we can have quality products in the manufacturing line. So this is coming. So and this will be part of the business strategies in the future times to come. I mean, you need quality medicines at the end of the day, and you need very good manufacturing areas which will give you those quality products. So these are the facts which has to be taken care of, and especially the people in JU and other universities, we need good people to come and man these. You can't always have robots working for you. It doesn't happen in the pharmaceutical industry. You can have automated production lines, but at the end of the day, you need bright minds, very sharp minds with very good knowledge of Ayurvedics to bring in good products, carry on research, carry on very strict quality controls so that the end product is of high quality. So I think from a manufacturer's point of view, I think challenges will always be there, but it will be important on how we tackle those challenges. And we want to do well. We want to take our Indian system of medicine to the world. It's a huge area, huge potentiality. We are always there, and we are looking for opportunities to go ahead. And I mean, see the challenges, and I mean, ease whatever. I mean, I think the Department of Ayush is doing its level best, and I think kudos to everybody there. I think Sudipto is part of NITI Aayog also. I think NITI Aayog does a very, very good work as well on this. And it's a very difficult task. It's not very easy. It's definitely not easy. As far as, if you compare, synthetic drugs as well as plant-based materials, I think sourcing is a massive problem. It depends on good monsoon, good soil, the way you cultivate it, matching the standards for all batches. It's a very, very difficult task. A lot of times when we do not get the required scale of extracts in, say, a big bulk volume of leaves, then we have to discard it. So I think the wastage is a huge issue. It's a very, very big issue, and again, it adds to the cost of the company. So I think we are trying to balance it out, but I think at the end of the day, everybody should know that what kind of immense potentiality the Indian system of medicine has, and especially in Ayurveda. I won't be able to comment more on homeopathy. I think Sudipto is the best person to do it, and Unani. But for Ayurveda, I think it's a massive area, and India has so much to offer to the world. More awareness, as Dr. Shah had also told, and Dr. Vela has also told, awareness is a big issue here. Everybody should know what the system of medicine can bring in. And we are basically into proprietary Ayurvedic medicine, so I would be limited to that only when I speak. Of course, we would love to go and venture areas which are OTC in cosmeceuticals and nutraceuticals. I know Sudipto has been pushing me for many years to get into nutraceuticals and cosmeceuticals. This is a very big area. It's a very big area, and India should be very proud that we have a system like this in both homeopathy, Ayurveda, and Unani, and other areas as well. But I think it is time for us to promote ourselves in a bigger way, and find out ways where we can go and penetrate bigger markets in Europe and in US. I think there's a lot of things that needs to be done, and I think the industries are ready. I think we are all ready to take Ayurveda and Indian system of medicines forward. So that's it. Thank you.
Thank you so much, sir. Thank you so much. You really set the ball rolling. And just to add on to that, we have Dr. Sudipto Narayan Roy. He's there with us. I would like you to add on to the conversation which has been initiated by Mr. Datta Gupta, to have your intake. And then, since you have already been engaging and you have been working extensively locally in Calcutta with the drug control authorities and nationally with NITI Aayog, everybody, it's really important to have your thought and the challenges which are there, which are not going, and how as industry collectively we put forward the compliance issues which industry is facing, so that government can be projected the real challenge and the hurdles which are coming for the growth of the industry.
Thank you, madam. Good afternoon, everyone. I was hearing to the esteemed panel, and most of the issues are already discussed by Mr. Datta Gupta, and those are the challenges whole of the industry, be it homeopathy or be it Ayurveda, are facing. But I want to specifically mention few of the points that is more specific with that of homeopathy, because I belong to the homeopathy industry, and I want to say that there is not a very big difference between the homeopathic and the Ayurvedic system of medicine. The homeopathic system is more of a Western form of the Ayurvedic system only. It was obviously discovered in Germany, as it is said, but if we find that these 7 cardinal principles of homeopathy, we can find it in the Charak Samhita as well. We have discussed this many a times. That rather I want to always say that homeopathy is not a Western science; it is an Indian science. If we go, if we find it in the roots of Indian wisdom, we will get there. So Ayurveda, the word Ayurveda is now a concept. It's not only just limited to a medicinal product or a medical practice. It is more of a lifestyle procedure. So similarly, homeopathy is also coming up as a system of medicine, which is being more popular in the last. We can see in the last few months during this pandemic situation, homeopathy, Ayush Ministry has definitely patronized homeopathy a lot in this pandemic situation, and it has been more popular. So there are certain things which I need to mention, that the tax component, the tax component import of the botanicals is 22%, whereas the finished product is 10%, which I have already mentioned in many forums while discussion with Ayush. So this is a point that need to be, this is an issue that need to be addressed very soon. And the second part is that the incorporation of the Indian drugs need to be done in the homeopathic pharmacopoeias, because of the fact that to get an edge in export, context, for export of homeopathic medicines, we need to incorporate Indian drugs. As Madam Dr. Ashmita Wele was saying, that there are a lot of Indian drugs which can challenge, like that of cornflower, Echinacea can be challenged with Vasaka. That milk thistle can be challenged with, we can compete with the Bhui Amla. So these drugs should be incorporated in the Indian pharmacopoeias, rather Indian homeopathic pharmacopoeia, so that the export can be increased. So these are the two issues which statutory issues which the homeopathic manufacturing companies are facing. Since this discussion is more based on the medicinal plant, on medicinal plants, so these are the 2 points which I want to discuss. And another thing, the awareness, as Dr. Shah was mentioning, that awareness needs to be increased, and this awareness can only be increased with the participation of academics and the industry, as well as the statutory bodies. Ayush is doing really a fantastic job in last few years. Ministry of Ayush is doing really a fantastic job to increase the awareness, and I am grateful to ASSOCHAM also, that ASSOCHAM is also coming up with a lot of programs specified for these Ayush products, and it's definitely building an awareness. Now, which I want to mention, which may not be a very pleasant thing to hear, that ease of doing business in this region, in this part of the country, is not doing this program with Jadavpur University. Now, how many of the students, after passing from this esteemed institution, are opting for entrepreneurship? The startup hub of India is in Bangalore, wherein we can find that the largest migrated population is from this part of the country. If we see that skilled personals who are working in those startups are mostly from universities like Jadavpur. So why not in Bengal we can see them coming up with a new entrepreneurship ventures. So here lies the question. So why are we failing to build new startups? Why are we failing to build up new companies? Where Calcutta had been the hub for the pharmaceutical industry. Calcutta had been the hub for the homeopathic industry. If we see that Calcutta, Bengal Ayurveda was one time ruling the whole of the subcontinent. So, but today we find a lot of deficit. We see entrepreneurs, they are not encouraging their second generation to join business. So a cultural change need to be taken. Ease of doing business, yes, definitely that we are not at ease. There are a lot of problems which we are facing with drug control department and the industry. The drug control department, they are not aware of the new dynamics. Still, they are following the rules which are there in the book. So there are a lot of ambiguity. Suppose I give one example. If a person who wants to start a new marketing or a wholesale business for a homeopathic medicine, there is no specification given that how much square feet or how much square meter of a shop floor is required. There is no specification given. And there comes a very big ambiguity. Few of the licensing authorities, they are saying that it should be as big as an allopathic counter. But there are a lot of licenses, they have already given it in a space of 100 square meters. Now there is a big ambiguity. The new licenses are not being released. Think of the situation. The people who have invested in a shop floor, the people who have invested in this kind of, they would be doing this kind of business, they are now in a lot of ambiguity whether they can start a business or not start a business. For 1 year, this ambiguity is still on. There is no drug control department cannot come with a conclusion, because now they are saying that we will hand over everything to Ayush department. Now Ayush department would be coming up with new if somebody wants to is so, because there is a lot of ambiguity regarding the space only, that whether a wholesale license would be given in a space that is as big as for an allopathic.
Dr. Roy, we lost your connection in between. We couldn't hear you.
Hello.
Hello.
Yeah.
Last part of it. Sorry, we couldn't get the last.
Okay. Sorry. There is a lot of problem in the internet. Off and on, I'm getting disconnected. I do apologize for that. So I was just speaking that regarding these ambiguities that need to be sorted out soon, because there are a lot of entrepreneurs who wants to invest, who wants to come up with business, but they are not able to. Homeopathy has always been kept as a stepmotherly thing in drug control, because the allopathic people, they are not very much bothered about homeopathy. Now that it is being transferred to the Ayush department is more focused into Ayurveda. But homeopathy is also an industry. There are more than 250 manufacturers in West Bengal, and they are serving quite a few, I think about 10 crore customers all over India. So these ambiguities need to be taken care of. These problems should be taken care of. There is a rule 85E of drug and years of only after 3 years of the experience. So this rule, I think nowadays any young candidate, any young person who is who is a young graduate with chemistry or botany, they don't want to stay in one job for 3 years. So this need to be considered. So these are the things which needs to be taken care of, because SMEs, small, all the 250 manufacturers present in West Bengal, all are into SME sectors. So collectively they are having these issues. So these issues that need to be taken care of, I think ASSOCHAM would be the best body to take care of these problems for these small and medium entrepreneurs, so that the ease of business is much more, we can really be at ease in doing business. And there are a lot of coordination issues with the Central Drug Control Department and the State Drug Control Department. Those issues the Drug Control Department is also well aware of, but no step till now, no steps are being taken, especially in homeopathic sector, I can tell you. And there are a lot of allied segments, as Dr. Vele was talking about, that nutraceuticals and cosmeceuticals segments that Ayurveda is coming up with. Similarly, these herbal, I would be terming it as herbal. This not only Ayurveda but also homeopathy is also having a lot of products like this. These segments like that of she was talking about echinacea. There are a lot of good skincare products are coming up with echinacea. Now, where should we label this product as? Is it a homeopathic medicine or is it a cosmetic product? So there are a lot of ambiguity, but there a lot of research is going on these products. Products are developed, but these products cannot be served in market because of this ambiguity, whether this is a medicine or a cosmetic, or is it a other wellness product. So these ambiguities need to be cleared. There are a lot of specific issues that can be discussed, that can be given as a representation to the Ayush department through ASSOCHAM, and that can be taken care of as point wise and with single issues at a time. So the import of the botanicals and the incorporation of the Indian drugs, these are the 2 points which I need to focus on, and I would ask Parminder ji to please make a representation as soon as possible to Ayush Ministry with these issues. And I thank you for giving me this opportunity, and I thank Mr. Datta Gupta and other eminent panelists who have enlightened us for these issues and these informations. Thank you, everybody. Jai Hind.
Thank you so much, sir. We will definitely be very keen to work under your guidance and the guidance of our chairman to, to take up this representation. And in fact, if I remember, Secretary Ayush was very keen to have a representation from ASSOCHAM, especially with regard to the homeopathic and pharmacopoeia, which you had mentioned in the last session. So he was suggesting that you give us in writing. We already have Council of Homeopathic, and we will place it to them. For the inclusion, etc. So I think that one, and the ambiguity which you mentioned with the drug control authorities, I think we must do. And the time is absolutely right, because Government of India is working on reducing the compliance burden. There are month-long conversations which are going on with the industry with regard to the laws and the bylaws and the articles which are becoming hindrances for the companies to operate and grow. So I think it is absolutely just the right time for us to submit with such representations to the concerned ministry, to the connected ministries, and make copies to PMO, so that this is involved. DIPP is working hard on reducing the compliance burden with the Productivity Council and everybody. So I think it is absolutely right time for us. We shouldn't, without any delay, formalize this and take this submission to them. Thank you so much, sir. I think we will take this off the section as well. I'm privileged. We have another chairman of ASSOCHAM, Mr. Ranjan D. Sen. He's the chairman, Agriculture Input Council of ASSOCHAM. And he is secretary of an NGO, Jalpaiguri Vivekanand Education Society. And he works a lot in the domain of organic certification, cultivation. He connects a lot with the NGOs and the cultivators and FPOs. So I wanted to bring his strength basically from the cultivation point of view. We heard the industry perspective, the opportunity which Dr. Wale shared. We heard the concerns which the manufacturers are having. Let's draw some strength and inspiration from the cultivators who are involved. What are the challenges which are being faced there, and how can we connect that cultivation to the main industry and take forward the agenda of a strong partnership and availability of the raw materials, etc. So I would request Chairman Mr. Ranjan D. Sen for his thoughts, please.
Good afternoon. Thank you, Parminder ji. Am I audible? Okay. It was a very nice opportunity to be invited over with such august speakers over here, and I learned a lot interacting or listening to all of you. And Dr. Pratibha Shah, she made a very beautiful presentations, and was really nice to know about Dr. Ashmita Vele, Dr. Devashish, Dr. Gupta, and Dr. Shudipta Narayan Roy. As Parminder ji has already given a short brief about the intro of who am I have not done any presentation as short. It's kind of a discussion and sharing my experience as a social entrepreneur and working with both the agriculturists or the farmers as well as the industry on the other hand. To be very specific, I think so Ayush or Ayurvedic, this particular sector is one of the most potential area, and it has an immense influence. It can create and already has an immense influence in various other fields that we all see. Coming across to the farmers, I will just come across to the farmers, but before just to give you a brief about how many areas it does impact is this particular Ayush sector, medicinal and aromatic plant segment, is on one hand we have the agricultures or the farmers or the cultivators who are growing these products. There is also a huge influence from the collectors, who are the non-timber forest produce collectors, who contribute a major part of these inputs also. There is a different agroclimatic zones where we find different kind of this medicinal and aromatic plants growing, and it has its own, this carry the signatures of those areas and the importance of those areas with the kind of active ingredients that these products or the plant have. There is a huge impact of this particular sector on the health and nutritional areas. On the pharmaceutical and the nutraceuticals areas, along with homeopathy, even there are many products in Ayurveda, also in allopathy also, where a lot of these Ayurvedic compounds are being used, active ingredients are being used. There is a huge impact of in the global footprints on the brand India of this Ayurveda and the yoga that has brought to. So from a single, if you look at the kind of influence this particular sector has, is from a farmer or a collector to the brand that India puts on the global footprint. So it takes manufacturers, it takes chemists, it takes growers, it takes aggregators, it takes a lot of huge resources amongst the whole spectrum along with it, and creates a design impact. And ASSOCHAM, I'm very thankful and grateful to ASSOCHAM for actually taking this segment as a major segment in amongst all their operations or sale that they're functioning. Now, to come back to the farmer's point of view, now we have come to know this particular, the raw material sector is very unorganized in case of Ayurveda, or in case of say MAPS, specifically in East and Northeast area, North and Northeast area. But in South India, it is very much organized. This area is very unorganized in the Eastern sector, is because we are not we do not have a structured over here. There is a very little bit of research which has gone into the identifying the growers, collecting it, organizing them, doing certain certifications. The government also does not have the required data where these products are being grown. In fact, the source of this data is a very big question mark, because West Bengal is a very highly porous state. There is 7 sister states in Northeast, Assam and other states, which is, they also export a lot of these MAPS products from their regions. And at the end of the day, as a manufacturer, when they get these products, the source of these products is highly questionable, where it is coming from. So there is a lack of traceability in the whole part. So how do we address these issues on part of the manufacturers? Because this traceability will play a major role in actually getting further certification acknowledgement in the global area, also in the national level. Now, government has come across with a lot of policies and programs like farmers producer companies and farmers producer organizations, etc., and farmers club and other thing. I think so industry who are manufacturers, they should take a stake into this area also, in collaboration with, as a CSR, or as in collaboration with NGOs, or in collaboration with identifiable aggregators that they have. Because this is area, if they can actually do the backward integration, that is where the quality is being manufactured. The quality of each and every product that is being sourced by the manufacturers is actually made in the field. It is actually made in the, it is collected from the forest. So if there is a variation in the quality of inputs every now and then, if the one products which is coming from Assam may not have the same kind of quality imprints which is coming from Bengal or Bihar or Jharkhand or Orissa. So they may have variations. So for a manufacturer to have different varieties and different kind of products coming into their inputs is as a source of, as a raw material, is also a very challenging thing. So in my opinion, this is like my personal opinion, we should, it is right time to actually go back to the backward integration other than doing the value addition in the forward chain or forward market integration as well. Backward, you have FPOs and FPCs. There are a lot of organizations, resource institutions, which are being promoted by SFAC, Small Farmers Aggregator, Agribusiness Consortium. There's a NABARD who is also promoting Ayush. There are other organizations who are have enlisted RIs and under them. These organizations actually have a cluster or different groups of farmers in them, numbering around 1,000 farmers in each FPC. So which can go up to further more numbers of farmers, but it is manageable 1,000 farmers, and we can actually train them, certify them, provide the kind of knowledge that is required for the manufacturer, for the farmers to have to actually grow these kind of products, and do the procurement also from them. You can do the input, you can produce the the crop, and then simultaneously, once the crop is gone, you can also procure it. There's a challenge. There's a challenge to this, but there are organizations who can mitigate these challenges. And how you can do this? Well, there are solutions. The technology is going to play a major role into this. IT is coming up with many agribusiness or agri-based applications, which helps you to actually track everything. So there are when farmers or this kind, if you can have this particular clusters, there's a risk is spread across to a many farmers. So on part of the farmers also, it is much more beneficial. So there is a lot of knowledge which goes into this. You can have this bulk production also. You can have customized production also. There's a lot of things which can happen. Simultaneously, there's a huge scope for the farmers as well as the industry and the farmers to actually evaluate this product and earn an extra from their farm producers, as well as for the manufacturers or the buyers. They can actually mitigate the role of this middlemen who are aggregators to a lot many extent, reduce the value of their procurement by creating the desired infrastructure in the rural belt, by creating sorting, grading, and packaging units. So you can think that there's a huge amount of things, potential things that we all, if the industry and the farmers can come together and create the desired value for the manufacturers as of Ayurvedic products or for homeopathic products or for any health and wellness or nutritional products or natural therapies that is being used. And there are many things that this maps can actually provide. There's a lot of gaps, there's a lot of void which we can fill if the industry can come together in the backward to do the backward integration. Simultaneously, there is an organic certification, there is fair trade agreement, there is a lot of Rainforest Alliance certifications which can go into and create the desired value for the farm, the finished products, also to create that kind of certification to the end customers. So to actually conclude, there's a huge opportunities, untapped potentiality, which we can all join hands to actually explore these possibilities. And there is a lot of value that we can all actually earn from this. Thank you.
Thank you so much, sir, for sharing your thoughts. And I'm sure with your inputs, we will be able to take forward supporting more farmers and FPOs, not only in West Bengal but in the other areas, Northeast and other states as well. I will move this discussion now to an absolutely different agenda, which is using Ayurveda in the form of tourism. When we talk of growth of Ayush industry, or we talk of growth of the medicinal plant, or we talk of the promotion of Ayurveda, tourism or the wellness comes as a very innovative thought. And there's a lot of medicinal plant usage which is going into these kind of specialized medical tourism or wellness industry. We are privileged. We have Mr. Shivashish Chakravarti. He is the Chief Operating Officer and Senior Vice President of Indus Valley Ayurvedic Group. He's a business engineer, wellness reformer with more than 18 years of experience in wellness and hospitality management. He has worked with some of the leading brands like Taj, Jumeirah, Hyatt across the world, Europe, Middle East, Africa, America, Asia, in various kind of management roles. He's the leader in business management and expansion, wellness venture setup, operation growth, sales and marketing, wellness retreat programs, training and development. He's a yoga master during his earlier career and became a management specialist. He is also a certified by Harvard Business School and Indian Institute of Management. Welcome, sir. Thank you so much for being with us for so long, and for taking time out to be with us. And thanks for your patience, sir. We are aware when we talk of medicinal plants or when we talk of Indian Ayurvedic systems, tourism industry is one of the biggest user of the products which are being produced from the India, and we have been showcasing that to the global audiences. So we would like to have your thoughts. How do we promote the industry forward, collaborating it more with the tourism and the wellness? Over to you, sir.
Right. Okay, thanks. Thank you, Aurobinda ji. Namaste to all the dignitaries here. Very good all of you. Hope I am audible. Aurobinda ji, am I audible clearly?
Yes, sir.
Great. Yes. So this is a similar topic talking on being vocal on many platforms. Then I'll take just a few minutes to cover my 4 points, which I thought to share with all of you in terms of this revival of the wellness and the focus on Ayurveda and definitely combination with the tourism. So my first and foremost area would be, say, when you talk about tourism, it's when it's domestic, there is no visa required, but when it's international, visa is the prime thing. So here I have to focus on very special visa category. So a very special category would actually promote differently. Every travelers around the world, when they will see that there is a special category for Ayurveda, then they will value it very differently. Very special is a very important, very special category for visa. It's very good. Next would be in marketing to promote Ayurveda. Other than testimony, I don't think so anything can work in the market, and especially when it's about your health, about your mental or physical health. So testimonies need to be taken out and marketed to the market players like us, also the government sectors who is coming closer to promote it. So testimonies, the real good cases, real benefit when customers are getting, whether from the service or from the product, that cases need to bring in front. That is the best way to bring Ayurveda the forefront of any medicine. That is that is what I do for my company. I don't spend money in normal marketing ads. It's only about testimonies. The real stories should talk about it. Next one is definitely insurance companies. That right now give 20 to maximum 25% coverage for Ayush, but that has to go up. Actually, participants should be there. And that is where many our market players and the government body should come out to talk to Ayush so that the percentage increases. I'm very specific, but it's a huge work, but this can make a difference. So, game changer. There should be a lot of brand collaborations. Let's say when a person coming to India for as an Ayurveda tourism, and then they, along with that, they get a lot of different pricing in the let's say airlines or on the transit, they're sitting in a hotel, they are also participating. It's a lot of brand collaboration, which services comes during the travel, along with other companies, will make another difference. That's I don't want to take much time. The four suggestions from my end.
Thank you so much, sir, for sharing your thoughts. We had quite a wide spread out panel which has brought in first the general concept and then the manufacturer side of issues, then how to connect with the farmers, and then from the tourism perspective. So I wouldn't go on into Q&A at this moment, but I just hope that our partners from NMPB has made note of all the key points which have been brought in by the eminent panelists, so that this can be put forward to the government and to the key stakeholders, both in terms of opportunities and also in terms of the challenges which has been there. It would be appropriate to take the matter offline hereafter. So with this, I thank all the eminent speakers who have been there with us. Thank you so much, and apologies for the slight delay which was there at the start of the program. Thank you so much for sharing your thoughts, and over back to the control center. We conclude this session. Thank you so much for everybody's presence. Thank you.
It was a great session. Thank you.
Thank you, madam. I hope everybody is ready to attend the session, as each and every one of these participants of the session. And we conclude this session for the lunch break. Thank you.